there are words for person, place, or thing that are not the subjects of the sentence. So let's look at this sentence to see what I mean. The ball rolled into the street. Now, if I wasn't thinking clearly, I might think that since street is a place, that that's the subject of my sentence. But would I be right?
No.
No? Why?
Because that's not your main subject. That's a part of a preposition phrase.
Well, let's refer back to our mark strategy. And when we're trying to root out the subject, we have to ask our who or what question with the verb of the sentence. So our verb is rolled. So who or what rolled? Well, the street can't roll, that would be silly. So that means that the ball rolled. So the ball is the subject of our sentence. To make sure we don't make these mistakes again, it's really important that we are able to identify and mark out prepositional phrases. So yesterday we talked about marking out imposters that are infinitives, and today we're going to be working on marking out imposters that are infinitives and prepositional phrases. So what is a prepositional phrase? Well, a prepositional phrase is a group of words that shows place or time, and I really recommend taking notes on this because this is very important and you'll have to look back at it later, and it will really help you. Another important thing for your notes is that each prepositional phrase has a preposition and at least one person, place, or thing word. So in our sentence, into is the preposition, and the street is the person, place, or thing word. So our whole prepositional phrase is into the street. So I'm going to mark that out and put a P above it. So into is just one preposition, but there are actually a lot of other different prepositions that show location. And we can refer to cue card 9, a bee in the bottle sheet, to look at how many places that the bee could fly to the bottle. It could fly around the bottle, it could fly across, through, beside, beyond. There's so many places that it could fly. So let's use this sheet to come up with our own prepositional phrases. So I'm going to go first. My prepositional phrase that I'm going to use is on the table. So my preposition was on. My noun, my person, place, or thing word was table. So my prepositional phrase is on the table. Who wants to make a prepositional phrase with the preposition under? Sam?
Under the chair.
Perfect, good job. All right, so we just looked at prepositions that show location, but there are a lot of other prepositions that don't show location. And we can find all our prepositions that do and don't show location on our alphabetical preposition sheet. So, and this will be really important for you to look back on later when you are trying to find out what words are prepositions or not. But some prepositions that don't show location are of, with, at, for, during, and without. Those are still prepositions, they just don't show location. So, when did we learn something about the word to? Does anyone remember?
Infinitives.
Yep. Yesterday when we talked about infinitives. Great. So yesterday we learned that the word to combined with an action verb means that it's an infinitive. But today I'm telling you that you can also use the word to find prepositional phrases. The word to combined with a noun makes a prepositional phrase. If you don't see the word to in a sentence, it means that there are no infinitives. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are no prepositional phrases. And we can look for our prepositions back on this sheet. Alright, so now that you know a little bit about prepositional phrases, let's see how the parts of search and check work in a sentence. So I'm going to pretend that I already went through all of the pen strategy to pick a sentence. I picked a formula, I explored the words to fit the formula, and I decided that I want to write about my brother, Joe, who swam in a lake. So, Joe swam in the lake. Okay, now I'm ready for the first step of search and check. What do I need to do first?
Mark out the imposters.
Yes, I need to look for imposters, and the first thing I'm going to look for is infinitives. And to look for my imposters, I have to look for the word to. I don't see any to's in this sentence, so that means that there are no infinitives, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there are no prepositional phrases. So I'm going to go through my sentence and look at this prepositions list to see if I see any prepositions. Let's see, is Joe a preposition? No, I don't see that on my list. Let's see, what about swam? Is swam a preposition? I don't see that either. What about in? Could in be a preposition? Yeah, in is a preposition. We can find it on our list. So that means that in the lake is the prepositional phrase of this sentence. So let's mark that out and put a P above it so we know that lake could not be the subject of our sentence. So what's the next step? We have to ask the verb question. So is there an action or linking verb in this sentence? Well, let's see. Joe. Is Joe an action or linking verb? No, I don't think so. How about swam? Swam an action or linking verb? Yeah, I can swim. That's something that I can do. So swam is an action verb. I'm going to put a V above it to show that it's a verb. So what should I do next now that I found the verb? Exactly. So what should I ask myself when I'm reading out the subject? Who or what swam? Exactly. So we only have one word left in the sentence. So let's try that word first. So who or what swam? Well, can Joe swim? Does that make sense? Yeah, Joe can swim, so Joe is the subject of our sentence. Okay. So what's our very last step?
Beginning, ending, and meaning.
Yes, exactly. So what do you guys think? Does this sentence work? Does it check out?
We need to check for capitals.
Yeah, we need a capital letter in this sentence. Great, awesome. We fixed that and our sentence looks great. So now we're going to move on to our learning sheets. I'll give these to you guys. So now we're going to practice using all of our search and check steps with sentences that contain prepositional phrases in them. So, I do not know where I put my marker. Okay, so Tim ran through the goalposts. What's the first step? What do we need to do first? Yes, we need to mark out the imposters. What's the first imposter we have to look for?
Infinitives.
Yes, exactly. And what is that really special word that I said we need to look for to help us find infinitives? Yes, to. Do you see any to in this sentence? No, me neither. So that means that there are no infinitives. What kind of imposter do we look for next?
Prepositional phrases.
Yep. Are there any prepositions in this sentence? Remember, you can always refer back to your preposition list and your bee flies in the bottle list. You see through? Awesome. How do you know that that's a preposition?
Yes, it's listed on my sheet.
Exactly. All right. So what's the whole prepositional phrase? We know that through is a preposition, but what's the whole phrase? Yes. So let's mark that out and put a P above it. So what's the next step that we have to do?
Root up the subject. The verb.
Yep.
Sorry.
And what question do we ask when we're trying to find the verb?
Is there a verb?
Is there an action or a linking verb? So, yeah, is there an action or linking verb in this sentence? Okay, what is it?
Ran.
Exactly, you're right. So let's put a V above ran. And, all right, what's the next step?
Root up the subject.
So what do we ask ourselves when we're trying to find the subject?
Ran.
Who or what ran? What's the answer?
Tim ran.
Tim ran. Exactly. Okay. All right, so what's the last step?
Key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning.
Yeah, what do you guys notice about this sentence? Is there anything wrong with it? Is it missing something?
Needs a capital.
It needs a capital. Does it make sense? Perfect. So now we know that it's a complete sentence because it has a capital letter, a subject, a verb, and it has ending punctuation. So we are all good on that. So now what I want you guys to do is do the next part of your learning sheets. And I want you guys to mark out prepositional phrases and put a P above them, put a V above the verb, and put an S above the subject, and fix anything that doesn't make sense. If you guys do really well and get 90% on your worksheet, then you can move on to new learning sheets.
Good job.
Yay.